Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Fragment Educational Services podcast. I am your host, Sharon Joseph, and I'm thrilled to kick off our first episode of our podcast series, The World is Your Campus. Whether you're a student looking for studying abroad, or a parent looking for global opportunities for your child, or simply curious about the international educational landscape, this conversation is for you. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Saju James, Managing Director and Partner of Fragaman India, and the visionary behind Fragaman Educational Services. With more than 2 decades of leadership in global mobility and immigration, Saju brings a unique blend of personal passion and professional insights to this conversation. Before joining Fragaman, he held key leadership roles in Asia's largest IT services and solutions organization, including Director of HR for the Americas, Global Head of HR for a subsidiary, and Head of Immigration and Legal Compliance for the North America, bringing in a wealth of experience. Welcome to the show, Saju. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. So, Saju, before we dive into the broader global educational trends, let us start with the story behind Fragam in India. How did it all begin?
Thank you, Sharon. Very interesting question. Um, 20 years back, I was with the corporate world for almost 2 decades, and in India for quite a while, and in the US. Was part of the largest IT services organization in India, and um, that's when I realized there's an opportunity where, and I obviously got quite a bit of experience on the immigration side with the corporate world. And when I looked back, I realized that India, there was no service provider who was really focusing on immigration services. And there were a lot of multinationals who were coming into India, setting up their operations. That really prompted me to think about Fragam in India as an organization which could help global multinationals to be able to set up in India and grow from there.
Okay. So, till now, you were focused on the corporate world through Fragam in India. What brought you to the thought of Fragam Educational Services after 18 years? A thought for students.
Interesting question again, Sharon. When we started 18 years back, we really thought about the corporate world because that was the time when most of the multinationals were coming up and setting up their operations in India. There were very, very few companies. Today, if you count quite a bit of multinationals, pretty much everyone has a shop in India. And we were instrumental in supporting them to set up their shop. When you look at the immigration life cycle, we were supporting most of the foreign nationals who were from starting from the non-immigrant space to immigration to their citizenship path to their PR process. But one if you look at the life cycle, the starting comes from students and their education before they move into the non-immigrant space. How do we support students? One is to get to the right colleges and get the right courses. Beyond that, there is a career, there is an immigration pathway for them. So it blends very well. Uh, that's when the thought around why not we as a Fragam in India as an organization provide that support. Having 60 offices worldwide and presence in pretty much all the countries where we have been operating, it naturally becomes efficient because you start from a student and then that's where the whole immigration process starts.
Right. So, I understand that you've had a very rich global journey yourself. So, as a parent, I'm sure you would have had your thoughts about your children going for overseas education and the like.
For sure, Sharon. Before even looking at overseas travel, in my corporate journey, I got to experience different cities in India. That was quite a bit. It was new to me. But then at the age of 29 or 30, I would say, I got to take up a new opportunity, which was in Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
to head legal and immigration for a large IT services firm. That really changed my perspective about working globally, experiencing different cultures, being able to learn um, how to manage your life in a new country. All of that, uh, really had a great influence in my career, I
Right.
would say. And not just my career, I realized my families learned a lot, not just me as
Okay.
an individual. But then I got to travel back and forth post that as well. Again, I came back for some time. I was in Delhi again.
Right.
Went back again to a different city in the US for a couple of years. That's when I realized at some point of time, I wanted, again, unlike most of the families, we decided to come back to India. Most of the families settled there.
Okay.
But then we said, no, we want to contribute back to India, irrespective of um the good life you can live in the US. I said, I want to start again. I want to come back to India. And I came back to India. While I came back to India, I thought about in future, I would have my kids study somewhere abroad, may
Okay.
not be US.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that is when, to your question on the parenting side, give the opportunities to kids, let them make a decision. Everyone may not want to go overseas, but then if they wish to experience that, I would want to encourage them.
Okay.
And that was one of the reasons my elder son, finally, he managed to find an opportunity in the US.
Okay.
During those days, this was like 10 years back.
Oh.
During those days, there was very few organizations who were able to provide credible support
Mm-hmm.
in understanding what courses to select, what are the admission process, again, cities to live in, the opportunities beyond education. There was very few
Mm-hmm.
organizations. So unlike today's times, he had to find his own, do his own research, look for admissions, start with college interviews. It took at least 18 months before he could get his first admission.
Oh.
So obviously, I realized there is quite a bit of a gap,
Mm-hmm.
and parenting obviously. My decision to send him abroad was definitely there. But if you look back and think about Fragaman Education Services, that also triggered.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a reason behind why we could think about Fragaman Education Services because of my experience and seeing the gap, what we could contribute there.
Okay, that's wonderful to hear, Saju. And this just reminded me about a conversation that I had with my daughter. So, ever since, she got a hang of overseas education, she says that I'm going here, I'm going there. She's already set, and she's only 7 years old, mind you.
It's
So,
interesting that we are able to inspire kids so
exactly.
early.
So, as a parent myself, I'm sure I'll be sending her somewhere abroad in the near future. I mean, there's a long way to go, but what is your say to all of us parents who aspire to, send our kids abroad for higher education? Your message to
Now,
all of
I
us.
would, again, going back from my experience, again,
Okay.
I'm trying to see what did I think about when I send my son abroad. It's not an easy decision
Right.
because as a parent, you're losing them
Yes.
for a time period. You'll have to make a conscious decision. Um, again, you need to stay connected with your kids,
Right.
that's for sure. And you need to help them to make it a right decision,
Right.
whether it's overseas or India. And obviously, if you're interested in their careers and if you want to make sure that they become independent, it's always good to give them that exposure. Now, once they go abroad, one is finding the right courses, being in
Mm.
the right place, being safe,
Yeah.
getting them the right opportunities. All of that is something you should reach out to the right service provider first of
Right.
all, and someone who has that influence around the world, right? So in future, if there is a need for you to go back and ask for help, there is someone who is credible in the market who could provide you that support when it is required.
Right.
I had many instances where there were decisions with respect to my son moving colleges in the middle of his graduation. We obviously took advice from our colleagues in the US
Okay.
in making that decision.
Mm.
And I remember one of our clients in Australia, his son was studying for a course in masters,
Okay.
and they wanted to select in the middle of his post graduation. They decided to move courses. The reason is that there are courses in Australia which provides you faster PR pathways,
Okay.
whereas the other one doesn't provide.
Oh.
But then if the student had credible advice earlier, they would have chosen the 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 program which could provide them the PR pathway much faster
Okay.
before even going there and experiencing it.
Right.
So similarly, when my son decided to move colleges, we obviously took advice from our colleagues in the US.
Okay.
They were able to provide the right advice and the right colleges where in future he could get placements.
Okay.
So those were very, very important, I would say, interventions during his college days,
Okay.
which helped him to get his first job in the US.
Oh, lovely. So, when we even talk about education, it is always usually restricted to just academics. And when it comes to overseas education, I think we'll be even more focused on just that part of it. So, do you think that's the only important part of overseas education, or you see there is a more holistic approach to it?
I'll share my experience based on, obviously, as a parent.
Yes, please.
I've seen my son do his graduation. They have to live their life alone. Yeah.
Right.
So there is also a portion of earnings which matters for them. So most of the campuses, but this is particularly to the US,
Right.
you have an option of supporting any campus ventures. They can work for 20 hours and earn during this hours.
Okay.
So he, being passionate about sports, used to be part of the coaching staff
Okay.
in the college, where every week they get to spend 20 hours working,
Wow.
and they earn while they are learning.
Okay.
It's not just that earning which matters; they learn to live by themselves. And one is they understand the value of money and how
Right.
things are managed. The other one is while they are doing their studies, they will also get to learn certain things such as leadership,
Right.
leadership skills, working with teams, being able to manage conflicts, the real life practical experiences which they get as part of the college program
Right.
is invaluable.
Okay.
I'm not saying India, obviously, we don't have that advantage of working in campus while you do your studies. It's always good to have that real life experience on what would be your state
Right.
once you get out of the college and you really need to start working.
Yes.
There's a lot of things which we learn as we get there.
Right.
But having that flair of what's going to be after my campus life, how am I going to work, how am I going to manage teams, my leadership skills, my interpersonal skills, all of that gets tested in the campus itself.
Right.
I found that to be a great opportunity, which really reshapes the students while they are abroad.
Right. So, since you got us to the end of what could be, I think there are students who have the main fear or anxiety while thinking about overseas education. I think when you spoke about this, it would give them a lot of encouragement to actually think of it at least and take their first step towards overseas training.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. It's a great opportunity, I
Very
would say.
true. So, Saju, until the pandemic era, we saw everything was very stagnant. And then suddenly there was a shift. Like when it comes to overseas education, China, where it stood at the highest numbers of sending students abroad, in the last 5 years, we saw India coming up with higher numbers. And in 1 year's time, we had 800,000 odd students who've been going for pursuing overseas education. What has changed? Why has this suddenly become a global phenomenon, according to you?
Really true, Sharon. I reflect back on my experience with the IT services company we spoke about.
Right.
I was predominantly in HR on the north side of India.
Okay.
I was based out of Delhi. I used to, again, being in HR, you were responsible for campus recruitments. So you used to visit all the campuses. You talk about IT Delhi, Roorkee, and all of that. Pretty much all the campuses in North
Okay.
I had visited during 1990s and early 2000s.
Okay.
I moved to South at some point of time, like 1996. I moved to South. I was responsible for campus recruitments in South.
Okay.
So got to visit most of the campuses in Karnataka and Kerala, where we were responsible for campus hiring. So during those days, the aspiration for, if you look at students, most of them would look at IITs as the first set
Right,
of
yes.
colleges to go for. Then comes the RECs. Now it is NITs.
Right.
RECs were the next set of colleges, and then there is the third set of colleges which people used to aspire for. So the dream was get to IIT. The next was REC.
Right.
And then the third was the next set of colleges. So, um, and we used to recruit large numbers from these colleges. Like in one campus, I remember NIT Calicut, we came from, we recruited in 1 year 100 people, 100
Right.
students
Oh,
from NIT
okay.
Calicut. But then the same experience, during those days, it was India. Have all the
Ah,
experience in India, get a campus job, and then within first year, go abroad and get that experience.
oh,
Okay,
okay.
that abroad experiences comes after 1 to 2 years
Huh.
working in the corporate world.
Right.
What has changed over the last many years? So if you look at my experience in the US, I also got to visit campuses in the US with the same firm, and we used to do recruitments in the US during those days. Hardly anyone from India studying in those colleges during those days.
Oh,
Today, if you go
okay.
back and look at those campuses, 50%, 40 to 50% will be students from abroad. Not just US, you look at the top five: UK, Canada, US, Australia, and New Zealand. Ireland is very close now.
Right.
If you look at most of the campuses, you will see 30 to 50% of the students from countries other than the home country itself studying there. Obviously, that's the experience they're looking for, the ways of learning,
Right.
and the opportunity to get to new cultures, and all of that probably is part of it. But if you ask me, there has been a big change since, if I look at my career in the last 20 years, I've seen through it. My initial part of the career, it was like all India, look at the grades of the colleges
Right.
and go for the best. Today, the first thing kids are discussing is, should I go to the US,
Yeah.
Australia,
Right.
um, UK, Canada,
Yeah.
rather than colleges in India. So there has been a shift, which obviously is good. Doesn't mean that India, we have education is not great. It has its merits.
Right.
So, but then choices are available for students now.
True. I think this speaks more about even the volumes of opportunities that are available for us Indian students, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Clear. Yes. So, Saju, you spoke specifically about 5 destinations. Looks like they are very special. Is it because of the job opportunities or employability opportunities? What is it that you'd like to share?
There are multiple factors, Sharon, where the students, before they decide, it all depends on the personal circumstances of a lot of them and their aspirations.
Right.
Students who are looking for there are affordable study options would look for specific countries.
Okay.
And those looking for innovation, creativity, and all of that would look at countries where their focus is academics.
Okay.
There are students who would look for post-study options where they're able to work for a couple of years, uh, earn during this period, be able to pay back the scholarships what they have or the loans which they would have taken during this time.
Right.
So the reasons around this, and there are students who would look at programs which would provide them PR pathways.
Right.
So if you look at the countries, 5 countries I spoke about, Canada, UK, US, Australia, New Zealand led the way.
Okay.
But then all the other countries have learned from those countries today. You see, Ireland, Germany, France, European countries, a lot of them are picking up from the learnings what they've seen from the 5 or 6
Right.
major countries, and opening up the education and the student options to get their study and all of that. One of the biggest factors which influenced the students was post-study job opportunities.
Okay.
And the government policies are also changing quite a bit. The policies, for example, there are some countries who brought in restrictions.
Okay.
Restrictions to the options which students had earlier,
Right.
where they could study and work. Post study options, where they could work for another 2 more years, and their spouses could work.
Oh.
You need to understand the post study options. You need to understand the government policies which are coming in, which is definitely our strength.
Okay.
That's what Fragaman does all
Right,
the time.
yes.
And the student who's traveling also gets an advantage of knowing what is coming up in the next couple of years because we are there.
Yes.
So my take here is the countries which were not in the race are getting there and trying to campaign for students to get there, where the the big fives are probably losing out because there are other countries who are competing for these
Yes.
same set of students which were traveling only to these
Right.
five countries. So the world has become a campus is what we are saying.
Right.
It's actually happening now
Right.
because every country is learning from the five
Yes.
now and probably implementing better policies to attract these
Right.
students.
I think they took the lead from these big five and finally,
Yeah, the others are learning from
rightly
it.
said, the world is
And
truly
more
a campus.
opportunities for students, I would say.
Absolutely right. So, Saju, we spoke about several trends, destinations. Now, there's a major thing that at least I, as a parent, would definitely think. I'm sure every other parent who wants to send their students abroad would have this key concern, specifically the middle class, the lower middle class families, about the financial side of sending children overseas. So they'll always have that fear, we will take loans and probably send them, but will they be able to recover those loans? And once their children go to the overseas countries, wherever they want to settle, will they be able to manage the finances there? And will they even come back? Those are, I think, always source of anxiety for every parent.
No, definitely, Sharon. These are the points what you mentioned are definitely something which the parents think about before they even plan to send their kids abroad.
Right.
Finance is definitely one of the biggest challenge for any middle class, lower middle class families.
Yes.
They'll have to think through how they could manage. There are many options.
Okay.
One is there are a lot of universities who provide 100% scholarships.
Oh, okay.
So scholarships options are available, and we being able to select the right college where you can get scholarship options is something which Fragment as an organization could help.
Okay.
That is one. Second, there are campus, as I mentioned about campus work options for students where
Yes.
they'll be able to spend like 20 hours in a week
Mm-hmm.
to really look at options to work and earn while they study.
Yes.
There are also colleges, there are also countries where for students who really have short of cash would
Okay.
probably go for countries where you could get programs which would be at a low budget.
Okay.
So country destination is also important,
Right.
where depending on your financial ability, you could decide on that. And pretty much all the banks today provide loans, but then obviously you need to repay the
Yes.
loans.
Yeah.
That is when the question comes in. There are countries which would allow you to work 2 to 3 years
Right.
legally in that particular country, provided you are completing their masters in that particular country. For example, in the US, the STEM program,
Right.
if you are part of the STEM program, you would get to work for 3 years
Oh.
if you post your masters,
Okay.
and that is automatic. Whereas if you are not as part of the STEM program, you get to work only for a year.
Oh,
So
okay.
selecting the right course is important for students while they decide. Country is important,
Right.
program is important because the work options are directly connected with what they have studied at that point of
Okay.
time in that particular country.
Right.
So the options are many, and you probably need the right guidance and the right advice for you
Okay.
to before you decide on where to go and
Oh.
which country to select based on all your financial requirements. And I'm sure uh, our counselors will be able to help in providing that guidance at the right time.
Okay. So I think this could be a big message that parents shouldn't be actually worried and, just have faith in the whole process of international
Absolutely.
education.
It has to be a thought through process.
Yes.
Should not hurry into it.
Right.
Proper research is required.
True.
You'll have to be careful about. And the other surprise which can always come in, the government policies change every time. So the preferred destinations today are probably not the preferred destinations tomorrow. You see new destinations come up because the government policies have changed at
Yes.
that point of time. So fortunately, we being in all of those countries, we are able to see some of those coming up early
Right.
and provide that feedback to parents and
advance,
students
yeah.
who are prospect to
Okay.
travel to one of these countries, and probably talk about what is the trend in that particular country and what is the political system advising on the student side. All of that can happen as part of that.
True. I think that's a great thing that Fragment Educational Services and Fragment does for parents who are actually looking for opportunities for children, keeping them in pace with whatever the current trend is.
And
That's
one
a
more
huge
thing, I
saving.
just again, it's too early.
Yeah.
At some point of time, we want to also. It's been 2 years since we've set up the Fragment
Yeah.
Education Services. Obviously, Fragment as an organization has been in this space for the last 70 years, 75 years.
Yes.
In India, we've been in 20 years, and
Yeah.
Education Services is only 2 years.
Right.
At some point of time, we'll have alumni networks,
Mm-hmm.
students who have really traveled through Fragment
Mm.
and are placed in different campuses
Right.
around the world. We would have a network where we will provide them real time information
Oh,
about what's
wonderful.
happening, what's expected to happen in the
Okay.
immigration space related to their studies and future opportunities.
Right.
Definitely, that's something which we are contemplating at this point of time.
That's a huge relief, I think. So, Saju, we heard and discussed about a lot of things that actually prove that the world is indeed our campus. So, what would be your message, a final, or your final thoughts for students, parents, counselors, or anybody who is looking at stepping into the global education landscape or even taking their first step towards transforming their future?
Sure. Um, I think I'll start with a quote.
Okay.
Again,
Please.
it was from Sunita Williams,
Mhm.
who just returned from the space expedition. She just said, this was last week's incident.
Mhm.
She just said, my space expedition has changed my perspective towards people. Looking down at the earth, we could not see borders or people with different nationalities. It was then that realization dawned on us that all of us are a group of human beings and citizens of the universe.
Oh.
I think very relevant to the the world as a campus theme which we spoke
Very
about,
true.
where when you are in a village, your universe is the village.
Yes.
When you are in the state, your universe is the state. When you are in the nation or in the country, it is that's your
It's a
boundaries.
yes.
When you're traveling and when you're around the world, that's your space. You learn as while you travel, and everything looks very small for you once you start traveling around.
Right.
And the learning, your ideas, the innovation,
Hmm.
your creativity,
Right.
your learnings from others, other cultures, all of that
Hmm.
is something which is invaluable. Your perspective about life changes once you
Right.
start traveling.
Very true.
And I'll also bring in a parallel.
Mhm.
During year 2000, the Y2K times.
Mhm.
It's called Y2K times when the systems were changing in 99, 2000 to 2001. All the systems had to be changed. So every IT companies went through this program called the Y2K period, when there were a lot of Indian professionals who used to travel abroad for work and settle there.
Okay.
So there was a lot of hue and cry in the political system in India that all these students, while they were students in India, they used to get subsidized education and training from the Indian education system. They were all the whole Indian education system is subsidized by the government. If you look at the IITs and RECs and the government colleges, you pay very, very small tuition fee to get your studies. So once you travel abroad, you've lost all the brain. That was the political controversy which was there during those days. They used to call it brain drain.
Oh.
What happened post year 2000 was we call it reverse brain drain.
Okay.
What happened was all of these professionals who went abroad, not all of them, lot of them who were entrepreneurs, decided to set up operations in India and come back to India. And if you look at most of these organizations, multinationals and Indian IT services companies, if you look at the leadership, these are all folks who have traveled abroad, had the experience, come up and set up their different entities in India.
Okay.
I see a parallel here in the student movements. Today we speak about world as a campus, and you have 800,000 students who are traveling from India abroad. There's also a talk in the town that we are losing all our brain to the outside world.
Right.
But I am confident that one day all of this will turn around. There will be the minds who would want to settle back in their home country after some years of experience. I have done that. I have worked for close to 7 to 8 years in the US before I took a decision that I want to build whatever I want to build. I want to build in India, and that too in Kochi. So when I moved back, there was a purpose. So everyone was asking, why are you giving your life in a country where it's a little more comfortable,
Right.
and coming back and trying to start something all over again?
Right.
I feel all of these students, most of them, after getting some of their experience, would want to come back to their home country and do something which is creative.
Right.
And if you look at all the startups, these are all students who would have traveled to multiple countries and tried their luck with multiple new ventures before they would have set up or grown into a large organization. So I would encourage all the students, parents to have that experience either in India or world, around the world, based on what they think is appropriate, and have that learning and experience the world before they make a decision about their career. And I'm sure Fragment Education Services would be able to help them with the right choices.
Absolutely. What an inspiring conversation to kickstart our journey. That brings us to the end of our very first episode of our podcast series, The World is Your Campus, presented by Fragment Educational Services. We do hope that this conversation encourages you to think big, aim global, and take your first step towards an international educational transformation that could truly change your future. A heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Saju James for his most valuable perspectives and personal reflections.
Thank you, Sharon. I thoroughly enjoyed the discussions.
Thank you, Saju. Do remember, this is just the beginning. In the episodes ahead, we will take you through choosing the right course and destination, finding scholarships, understanding timelines, steering through visa application processes, and so much more. Whether you're a parent, a student, or a counselor, there is always something for you here. Do give us a like and make sure to subscribe to the Fragment Educational Services podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, don't forget to follow, rate, and share our podcast with anyone who dreams of studying abroad. Until next time, keep learning, keep dreaming, and remember, your future is global.